In the past few years, even before artificial intelligence blew up in popularity, there have been game developers who incorporated AI into their projects. In this video, I'll be analyzing 3 of those games, discussing how they work and, much more importantly, their longevity. In late January 2024, a solo dev created a game with the premise of allowing the player to craft anything they want. Infinite Craft, a web-based sandbox game created using the Llama AI and Together AI. You spawn 2 elements, you put them together, and you combine into a new thing. I wouldn't call it a game, however, since the objective here is simply to play. It is just a toy. Infinite Craft's unpredictability and inconsistencies are what make it fun. The only type of object is a node consisting of at least one emoji and at least one, let's call it, word. The best it can do is combine elements logically. For example, if you combine fire and water, you get steam. Perfectly logical. If you combine America and mud, you get okay. So much like every single AI model in current existence, Llama is a product of massive web scraping. And because of that, it not only has a lot of political bias, it can also produce results that are sexist, racist, or homophobic. Even though the game has a failsafe where, if a result violates the AI's terms of service, it generates a triple question mark instead. Back to the game. Other than logical combinations, the game can produce juxtapositions and portmanteaus, which can lead to funny combinations. In the end, it's just a neat little thing, but the internet still made it seem like it was the best thing ever for about a month. Anyway, how does this work? Be aware that this is just a well-educated guess. When you combine 2 nodes, the game asks the server if they have the solution to the combination. If so, the server returns the solution. If the server does not have the solution in the database, it consults the AI. From there, it does one of 2 things. It either generates a new thing, which gets saved in the database, and your node gets marked as a first discovery, or it does nothing. Not so infinite, I guess. Personally, I can't help but see Infinite Craft as something other than a very ecologically expensive fidget spinner. This game reminds me a lot of those Twitter chains, where people let their phones autocomplete type out a phrase. Yes, Monkey Brain loves the unexpected, but I'm still surprised how big this got. Like, we have tons of articles dedicated to finding specific things. I don't understand how did it get here? You know a game is going to be good when the auto-translated web page translates the name of their own game to smoke. It isn't even consistent between pages. Nitpicks aside, Suck Up is a social deception game where you, a vampire, has to convince your neighbors to let you inside their homes so you can suck their blood. Suck Up was created using the Unity game engine and GPT 3.5 and Llama 2 AI models, and was developed by a team of 4 people. It's a simple game to get started. You knock on the door, the neighbor greets you, and you start talking to them. Your objective is to manipulate them into letting you in by understanding and making use of their personalities. If you're talking to a crypto bro, for example, you can just keep asking them about it and they will more than likely let you in. If you say something that they don't like, they will close the door on you and you have to go around looking for another disguise before you can start a conversation with that same person. These conversations are, of course, generated by AI. Sorry for the spoilers, but out of all the games I'll mention today, this is the best by far. As in, the one with the most depth and quality outside of its use of AI, and the most thought put into how it uses AI. I am not justifying using AI, but I'll get to that later. The game is available for purchase on their website for $16. Oh, I love the price in Brazil. Anyway, it's not that simple. For that price, you get 10,000 tokens to use. Every time the game has to generate something with AI, a token is used. According to them, 10,000 tokens is enough for something between 40 and 50 hours of gameplay. Ran out of tokens, buy the game again. Suckup is currently in early access, and I don't really know why. I couldn't find a roadmap online, and I'm not going to ask them directly, as I'm investigating this as an end user rather than a journalist. Since launch, they have added a new game mode where you go around ruining people's relationships. Is this a live service game? I'm really not sure. What makes the game a non-sustainable idea is the use of AI itself. Not only your profit is completely dependent on how much the users play the game, meaning the less they play once they buy the game, the more money you make, unless you get people to buy the game twice, maybe even more. And we all know just how difficult that is. Might as well make it a subscription service. In the end, while the type of product itself pushes me away from it, I just can't be angry at the developers because I don't think this was created in bad faith. And that would be the end of this had Ubisoft not announced their Neo NPCs, which are just AI NPCs. Essentially, Ubisoft and a lot of other companies are looking to implement the same kind of NPC Suckup has. Even Rockstar Life Simulator has AI NPC dating by now. It's literally the first thing they show on the trailer, and it's always the same thing. I sincerely believe Suckup is destined to become a footnote in Gen AI history, an idea that didn't pioneer anything nor was it original enough to stick. AI Dungeon, the very first Gen AI text adventure game. Maybe even the very first Gen AI game ever. I actually don't know, I can't find a list or anything, sorry. Infinite stories all controlled by your input. AI Dungeon was first released on May of 2019, before most of you even knew what generative AI was. AI Dungeon was originally created by one person, who would eventually found Latitude, the company currently associated with the game. AI Dungeon's purpose is to act as a dungeon master for your RPG campaign. No D&D books nor any dice rolls, just hard technology. After the game generates a paragraph, it gives you the option to say something, do something, write a little bit of the story yourself as the narrator, or just let the AI generate more text. It's a very simple game, so simple in fact that only a few months after the first release there was already a clone, and even a tutorial on how to make your own game like that. After all, the AI has been told to act like a dungeon master, and that's what it shall attempt. The intent of the game is amazing, and it did attract a lot of curious people back then, myself included. However, what made the game popular on the internet, much like all of the AI generated content from back then, was the fact that it sucked.
I need to go to IKEA, you reply. Hop in!
I've already criticized written AI, and guess what, we did not come a long way since then. The game forgets who you are, where you are, and a lot of information necessary for continuity. The game would often go in a completely unexpected and or unwanted direction. Not only that, but it would glitch, a lot and very often. On top of that, you could just ignore the setting and the implied rules and, for example, use a gun in a medieval setting. It's those exact aspects that have attracted content creators into playing the game once it had gathered some popularity. AI Dungeon would keep on growing, allowing the player to pay for better AI models. It got released on mobile, received features such as quests, multiplayer, or the ability to generate images using Stable Diffusion. Eventually, the game got released on Steam for a $30 price tag on July 28th of 2022. What you're paying for here is to get rid of the ads that you'd normally get on the web version, plus slightly better AI and image generation credits. Otherwise, it's the same app, and you still have to pay to subscribe to better models and access more features. Less than a semester later, however, the game went free to play, I suppose to attract a bigger player base, in hopes that it would bring people to pay for the in-app products. Well, as I was writing the script, the game was removed from Steam. It was announced on their blog, but not on Steam, so I was really surprised when I saw that. Some of the few remaining users are calling the entire thing a scam. Between the initially overpriced game, bugs that would show you ads even after paying, complete monetization change, all that while the AI got worse and worse, and now the app won't even be supported anymore. Oh, of course, I almost forgot to mention that AI Dungeon used to collect user-made texts, something that was never disclosed and eventually led to over 100 screenshots of private data leaking on 4chan. All that because OpenAI had hired third-party to moderate the content, following the increased numbers of users generating sexual content involving minors. After this blew up, and before set moderation, it was auto-moderated, and that led to a lot of false positives, which would lead to your account getting banned. The game is still available on the web and it still has the same subscription model, and a lot of the same issues. Latitude is now working on Heroes, which is some sort of sequel to AI Dungeon with increased gameplay depth, by having things such as inventory, character progression, and skills. That description reminds me a lot of AI roguelite. I wanna make a honorable mention to Human or Not, a game where you try to figure out if you're talking to a person or an AI. The experiment, which was built on the premise that AI could replicate a human conversation, instead led to people trying their best to talk like AI. Unfortunately for the game, the best way to appear human is by not trying at all. Before we conclude anything, let's discuss what happens to these games when they stop being supported. AI needs internet connectivity. You need to be connected to the internet to play every generative AI game ever. Well, the suck-up dev team, Proxima, believes that one day you'll be able to store and run AI models locally. Now, as much as I'd love to have some terabytes of illegally obtained data as well as some company's quote-unquote proprietary technology just laying around on my computer, I am unfortunately terribly afraid of of certain things that might come from the Mesoscripts data. Or maybe they mean that they'll keep all the data on their servers, but it's your computer that's going to do all the hard lifting of running it and generating things. There is no third option here, really. When an AI game dies, it dies. The only exception out of the 3 games discussed here is Infinite Craft, since it stores objects found, and you don't need AI to get to those. But that also makes the game a lot less infinite. Anyway, even some MMOs can be salvaged, but once the backbone of your interactivity is simply no longer there, then there's no game. Okay, let's say the devs stopped supporting a game that needs AI, and then delisted it. Maybe an user could hack the game and connect to another service and fine-tune the AI themselves to approximate what it was like before, and that's a lot. A lot of work and money from one user or one group on one thing with no returns. In an ideal world, none of these games would exist. The only reason AI has this deceptive level of quality to its creations is solely because of how much data it was trained on. Throughout this video, I mentioned Llama AI a lot. That AI is made and maintained by Meta, you know, Facebook, and as such, they use our Facebook data to train their models. Llama and Llama 2 are, quote, free for many commercial use cases, end quote, because if it wasn't, companies would be a lot less likely to experiment with it. It's not worth it. Like, yeah, I'm not too fond of the puppy shredding power plant, but it is powering that really cool roller coaster. You can't have the 8 or 10 cool games and the thing that steals art and makes people unemployed. These are the same thing, the same tool. It's not worth it. AI is the current quote-unquote next thing, just like NFTs were the next thing a little while ago. It's the same people, the same groups developing and promoting these things. As soon as the people on top realize that this stuff just isn't worth it, as soon as it gets more regulated, and all that while it gets more expensive, it will all die down. A lot of people who were not fond of NFTs ended up getting into AI associated products. And thus, I ask you, are you prepared for the next thing? A thing that will be even funnier but even worse for all of us? one that will be even more attractive to the general public. Thank you for watching. I know this wasn't the video that I promised last time, but that one turned out to be a lot harder to research than I expected. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and much more importantly, share it around. I'll see you next time.